Astrobiology begins with one of the oldest questions humans have ever asked: are we alone? But unlike science fiction, astrobiology does not start with assumptions about aliens, civilizations, or spaceships. It starts with chemistry, environments, and evidence. The field studies life in the universe by asking how life begins, where it could survive, how it might leave detectable traces, and what its future could be under different planetary conditions. It is sometimes called exobiology or xenology, but the central idea is the same: life on Earth may not be the only life nature has produced. Astrobiology treats that possibility as a scientific problem. It looks for the conditions that make life possible, the accidents that shape its evolution, and the clues that could reveal whether biology has appeared somewhere else. The key point is that astrobiology is not one single science. It is a meeting place for many sciences that normally study separate parts of reality. Biology helps explain cells, evolution, and survival. Chemistry helps explain the molecules that can store energy and information. Geology helps identify environments where water, minerals, and heat interact. Atmospheric science studies gases that might reveal biological activity from far away. Planetary science compares worlds like Mars, Europa, and distant exoplanets. Paleobiology studies ancient traces of life on Earth. Astrobiology combines all of these because life is not isolated from its environment. A living organism depends on a planet's chemistry, energy sources, climate, surface, subsurface, and history. To search for life elsewhere, scientists first need to understand the whole system that could support it. Most astrobiology research can be grouped into three major areas. The first is the study of habitable environments, both inside our solar system and around other stars. The second is the search for biosignatures, meaning signs of past or present life that could appear in rocks, atmospheres, chemical patterns, or microscopic structures. The third is the study of how life began and evolved on Earth, because Earth remains the only confirmed example of a living planet. These three areas are connected. If scientists know what conditions life needs, they can choose better places to search. If they understand possible biosignatures, they can design better missions and instruments. If they learn how life emerged here, they can judge whether life elsewhere is likely, rare, or dependent on very specific circumstances. The modern discipline grew out of the space age. Once spacecraft made it possible to visit other worlds, the question of extraterrestrial life became more than philosophical. In the 1960s and 1970s, NASA's Viking program marked a turning point. Viking became the first United States mission to land on Mars and directly search for signs of life. The results were difficult and controversial, but the mission changed the scientific landscape. It forced researchers to think carefully about what life detection experiments should measure, how alien environments might confuse those measurements, and why evidence must be interpreted cautiously. Viking did not give humanity a simple yes or no answer, but it helped create the foundation for astrobiology as a serious research field, evidence-based, interdisciplinary, and deeply aware of uncertainty. Habitability is one of the most important concepts in astrobiology, but it does not mean a place is comfortable for humans. A habitable environment is simply one that could support some form of life. On Earth, life has been found in boiling hot springs, acidic lakes, deep ocean vents, frozen regions, salty brines, and underground rock. These organisms are called extremophiles because they survive in conditions that would kill most familiar life. For astrobiologists, extremophiles are not curiosities, they are models. They show that life can adapt to darkness, pressure, heat, cold, radiation, and chemical extremes. This expands the search beyond Earth-like landscapes. A world does not need forests or oceans on the surface to be interesting. It may only need liquid water, usable energy, and chemistry that allows complex molecules to persist. Mars remains one of the most important targets because it once had conditions very different from today. Ancient river valleys, lakebeds, minerals formed in water, and layered sediments suggest that Mars had liquid water on its surface in the distant past. That does not prove life existed there, but it makes Mars a natural laboratory for studying past habitability. If life ever emerged on Mars, it may have left traces in rocks, chemical deposits, or underground environments protected from radiation. Modern Mars is cold, dry, and harsh at the surface, but astrobiology asks whether ancient Mars had enough time, water, and chemical energy for microbial life to appear. It also asks whether any subsurface niches could still preserve or even support life today. Other worlds may be even more surprising. Europa, a moon of Jupiter, is covered by an icy shell, but beneath that shell there may be a global ocean. This makes Europa fascinating because liquid water could exist far from the Sun, warmed not mainly by sunlight but by tidal forces created by Jupiter's gravity. If the ocean interacts with rock below, it could produce chemical energy similar to the energy used by organisms around Earth's deep-sea vents. That possibility changes how scientists think about life in the universe. Habitability may not be limited to planets with warm surfaces. Icy moons with hidden oceans could be common, and if they contain water, minerals, and energy, they may provide stable environments for biology over long periods. Beyond the solar system, astrobiology turns toward exoplanets, planets orbiting other stars. Thousands have been discovered, and they show that planetary systems are common and diverse. Some exoplanets orbit in what scientists call the habitable zone, where temperatures might allow liquid water on a planet's surface if the atmosphere is suitable. But the habitable zone is only a starting point. A planet also needs the right atmospheric pressure, chemical composition, geological history, and stability. Too much atmosphere can create crushing heat. Too little can leave the surface exposed and frozen. A planet around an active star may face dangerous radiation. Astrobiology therefore looks beyond simple distance from a star. It asks whether the whole planetary environment could remain friendly to life long enough for biology to emerge and evolve. Searching for biosignatures is one of the hardest parts of the field. A biosignature is a possible sign of life, but not every suspicious clue is biological. Organic compounds, for example, are important because life uses carbon-based chemistry, but organic molecules can also form without life. Certain isotopic ratios may suggest biological processing, but geological processes can sometimes imitate them. Microbial fossils can be powerful evidence, but tiny structures in ancient rocks are often difficult to interpret. This is why astrobiology rarely depends on a single clue. Scientists look for patterns, chemistry, environment, structure, and context all supporting the same conclusion. The challenge is not just finding something interesting. The challenge is showing that life is the best explanation after non-biological alternatives have been carefully tested. Some biosignatures may be detected directly by missions that land on another world and analyze samples in place. This is called in situ investigation. A rover on Mars, for example, can study rocks, drill into surfaces, measure chemistry, and search for preserved organic compounds. Other biosignatures may be detected remotely. For exoplanets, scientists cannot visit directly, so they study light. When a planet passes in front of its star, some starlight filters through the planet's atmosphere. Molecules in that atmosphere absorb specific wavelengths, leaving chemical fingerprints. If gases such as oxygen, methane, carbon dioxide, or water vapor appear in unusual combinations, they may hint at active processes. But again, caution matters. Atmospheres are complex, and a convincing biosignature must be understood in the context of the planet's full environment. Astrobiology also looks inward, toward Earth's earliest history. Life here emerged from non-living matter, but the exact pathway remains one of science's deepest mysteries. Researchers study early Earth to understand which conditions mattered most: liquid water, energy gradients, mineral surfaces, organic chemistry, volcanic activity, ocean vents, impacts, or cycles of wetting and drying. They also study how simple chemistry could become self-organizing, self-replicating, and eventually capable of evolution. This matters because if life required an extremely rare chain of events, then the universe may be mostly sterile. But if life emerges naturally whenever the right ingredients and conditions persist, then biology could be widespread. Earth is not just our home in this research, it is the reference case for every search beyond it. The future of astrobiology depends on better instruments, better missions, and better thinking. Space agencies such as NASA and ESA now support dedicated astrobiology programs, and universities around the world study the field from many angles. Future missions may return samples from Mars, explore icy moons, analyze exoplanet atmospheres, and improve our understanding of early life on Earth. But the most important lesson may be humility. Astrobiology asks a huge question, yet it advances through careful details: a mineral layer, a gas mixture, a microscopic pattern, a chemical imbalance. The search for life beyond Earth is not just about finding aliens. It is about understanding what life is, how planets become living worlds, and whether the story that began on Earth is part of something much larger. If you found this helpful, please like this video and subscribe for more explainers.